30. Why am I saying 30? Can you believe it, people? We're 30 days away until the World Cup. The biggest event in the world. It beats the Oscars, the Grammys, Super Bowl definitely, Champions League final, Copa Libertadores final, beats all of that. This is the holy grail of everything, for me at least. I don't know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know as well. But what makes the World Cup so great, right? People, this is not going to be an analysis of the groups or predictions or previews or anything like that. Don't worry, that content is slowly but surely coming to the channel. As you have known, I have covered all the World Cup qualifiers. Basically everything, except for OFC because we knew New Zealand would make it out of that. But I have covered it all because I love international football and I love the World Cup. Something that I cherish for 4 years, and the anticipation I have is palpable at the moment. It feels a bit weird though because it's held in the winter. We have so much club football going on at the moment that, there's not as much buzz. But for me, it doesn't really matter because the World Cup is everything. So today's video is kind of just, a little discussion on why I love the World Cup so much. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. Why do you love the World Cup so much? Let me know in the comments. But I'll start off with this. I remember as a kid, I was 6 years old, right? 2002 World Cup. I don't really remember that World Cup too well, but I remember one game. South Korea versus Italy. You're probably laughing as well. If you don't know what happened in that game, just search on YouTube. Because as a 6-year-old, I did not know what was going on. I had no clue. Once YouTube arrived, I knew. And then South Korea obviously made it to the semifinals. Turkey even made it to the semifinals, but it was R9's show and Brazil won the World Cup. Don't really remember much of it. I remember 2006 though. And I vividly remember the first game of that World Cup. Costa Rica against Germany. Wanchope, you might remember that name. Wanchope, the Costa Rican striker, scored 2 goals that day. Then we have Fring scoring a ridiculous goal. We saw Philip Lahm scoring a ridiculous goal. And that's when I was like, okay, this tournament is different. Yes, there's Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, and all these leagues. The World Cup, the quality is even higher. It's even higher. Obviously, in that same World Cup, we saw Zidane masterclass after masterclass after masterclass after masterclass. We saw a referee give 3 yellow cards to one player. Luckily, that won't happen this time around. And obviously, the headbutt in the final. We will all remember that. We will all remember that. Then we get to 2010. A very good and a very exciting World Cup. Because it was the first ever World Cup hosted in the continent of Africa. And my God, the atmosphere, the games weren't the greatest, but I just loved the storylines that we had in that World Cup. We saw, obviously, Ghana make it to the quarterfinals in that game against Uruguay. It's probably the most, I would say it's top 5 World Cup games. Not based on the quality, but just the sheer drama of that game was utterly ridiculous, and it's funny enough that we have Uruguay versus Ghana in this World Cup. Shabalala scoring the first goal of the tournament, and Peter Drury's amazing call for that goal. We saw Maicon scoring a ridiculous goal from an impossible angle. I mean, just an impossible angle. And we saw, obviously, Spain win their first ever World Cup. Iniesta becoming a hero forever in Spanish history. That was the 2010 World Cup for me, at least. 2014 World Cup. I would say, doing all of the history of the World Cups, I think this is the greatest World Cup ever. We saw great games. We saw amazing underdog stories. We saw, just annihilations. And I'll get to them in a second. And we saw, just some amazing goals. Just sheer quality of goals. So, obviously, we're all going to remember 7-1. I don't need to say the teams that were involved in that. All I need to say is 7-1. But really, the game that really got me into that World Cup was obviously Netherlands versus Spain. Because nobody rated Netherlands. Nobody. There was not a good Dutch side. Louis van Gaal is a great manager, but nobody rated that Dutch side. They put 5. I got 5 on it. On the defending World Cup champions. Oh, who just defended their European Championship as well. 5. A Robin van Persie master class. Absolute master class. And I was like, okay, this World Cup is going to be good. Then we saw James Rodriguez balling out. We saw Lionel Messi balling out. But also, personally for me, the USA doing very, very well. And performing well. In a tough group. People would say it was the group of death in that World Cup. And they made it out of the group, second, of course, behind Germany. Then we get to the knockout stage. And then, this is where it gets crazy. Because Costa Rica, Los Ticos, made it to the quarterfinals. Brian Ruiz, Keylor Navas. My God. You gotta be proud of your Costa Rican, man, because that World Cup run was simply amazing. Simply amazing. And it all started when they beat Uruguay 3-1 on match day 1, I think it was, yeah. Then we saw, obviously, Algeria doing so well against Germany in the round of 16. We saw Gonzalo Higuain actually scoring a knockout stage goal. He couldn't do it in the World Cup final. And then obviously 7-1. Probably the most memorable World Cup game. Not because it was a final or anything like that. Just because of the embarrassment and the team that suffered that embarrassment. And the team was the host country who has won 5 World Cups. Surely the most memorable game ever. I don't think that will ever be topped. For me at least. And then of course, Mario Götze with the winning goal in the extra time. Great chest control. The volley as well. A simply amazing goal from Mario Götze. Pure class. And Germany were obviously World Cup champions. 2018 was also great for me personally. Since I'm living in Finland, I managed to go see 2 World Cup games. It was a dream of mine. I've always wanted to go see the World Cup. And the mere fact that it was next door, couldn't pass up the opportunity. Managed to go see Brazil versus Costa Rica. Saw Neymar do a rainbow flick. Saw Brazil with 2 late goals to win the game. And then I went to go see probably one of the most boring games I've ever seen. Sweden versus Switzerland, which was not the greatest game. Let's just say that. It was around a 16 matchup. But obviously, I think that World Cup, it wasn't as good obviously as the 2014. I mean, come on. The 2014 was just utter insanity at times. 2018 was good as we saw France return back to World Cup glory. We saw Croatia make it to the World Cup final. Shout out to Croatia, man. Same population as Finland, and they made it to a World Cup final. And obviously, Argentina were managed by a tattooed bulldog, aka Jorge Sampaoli. And we saw Belgium do well. So, 2018 was good. So what are we expecting for 2022? What are we expecting, people? I really don't know what's going to happen. Because for me, Brazil and Argentina look like clear favorites in this World Cup. I mean, just so clear. Because all the European teams, let's go through them. Germany, not the greatest, but they can't turn it around. France, you don't know. Plus, World Cup tax, aka defending champions. Spain, don't have an attacker. They just can't score. Portugal, dinosaur. England, dinosaur. I really like Denmark and Serbia. But let's see. It can all change then when the World Cup arrives and you see all the fans. That will then galvanize the players. So anything can happen. Could we have a story like Costa Rica in 2014? Could we see Canada? Could we see Mexico finally make it out of the round of 16? Finally El Tri? Maybe? Tata Martino? No, we'll see. Can Japan do well because they have been playing amazing the last year? And what about the host Qatar? Obviously, Felix Sanchez, the manager, he's been there for almost 8 years. It's been a long project for the host country. Will they make it out of the group? That will be the biggest question mark. And can any CAF team make it out of the group stage this time around? Because none of them made it out of the group in 2018. So Senegal, Cameroon, Tunisia, Morocco, Ghana, you got to make it out of the group. One of you, please. Just please. But people, I love the World Cup. It just fills me with so much joy. Just seeing so many different nations. You see so many different players. You just see the players want to play for everything. Club level, it's a job, right? They still love the clubs, but it's a job. The national team, it hits different. And you can tell when players sing their national anthems or they play with each other, it just hits different. And that's why I love international football and especially the World Cup so much because it means something and it means something so deeply. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. What makes the World Cup so great, so special? And give me your initial thoughts, right? Are you excited or is there just so much club football you haven't been paying attention? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And of course, this is the place to be for World Cup content. We have done all the qualifiers, and of course, there will be previews and predictions throughout the tournament. I mean, just throughout. So stay tuned for that on the channel. Have a beautiful day. We're 30 days away. We're finally 30 days away, people. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Like and subscribe if you're new around here. And adios.